Another stadium, more people. Would you believe 165 stadiums? That's over 7 million people. That's how many have retired online, the easy way, at socialsecurity.gov. Hear them cheering? I think it's a home run. Retire online, the easy way, at socialsecurity.gov. How many people are retiring online at socialsecurity.gov? Take one full-size baseball stadium.
WGSX New Haven, WTOT,
Another stadium, more people.
Mariana, WVLQ, Port St. Joe,
165 stadiums.
ESPN
That's over
Northwest
7
Florida.
million people. That's how many have retired online, the easy way, at socialsecurity.gov. Hear them cheering? I think it's a home run. Retire online, the easy way, at socialsecurity.gov.
What is going on, Northwest Florida? You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. If you're listening in Mariana, it's 102.1. And if you're in Port St. Joe, you're listening to 101.9 ESPN Northwest Florida. Not on Blab TV today, but it is a great day to be alive, isn't it?
Happy Friday.
No doubt.
Happy Friday.
Happy Football Friday.
Happy-
NFL's back, baby.
Man, we're going to get into that. First things first, though. Got a lot of great games going on around the Panhandle tonight, and we had one last night as well. The Mosley Dolphins taking on the Arnold Marlins at Tommy Oliver, and Sam Freitas was named the player of the game last night. The final score there was 42-7. He took two to the end zone on a read option, and even when the rain started falling, he was still slinging the rock around. So we gave the player of the game to him. The game ended in the third quarter with, I think there was 5 minutes left to go. There was a running clock at the point in time, but lightning struck, right? Me and Kyle are up in the booth. We don't see the lightning. All we see is everyone just heading to the locker rooms, like a lot of people running all at the same time. And I'm like, so Mosley's kind of cheering while they're running off the field, and Arnold's just darting for the locker rooms. And I'm sitting like, did Arnold just forfeit? Like, what's going on? And then figure out, oh, it's a lightning delay, they call it. So it'll be 30 minutes, and then about 2 minutes later, they're like, all right, we're just going to go ahead and call this game. It was 42-7. You did have some flashes from the Marlins last night, but overall it was a great bounce-back game for the Dolphins of Mosley. And I got home in time for the fourth quarter of the Rams-Bills game, so we'll talk about that next here. Can't wait to get your guys' thoughts and opinions, but a lot of good games going on tonight. Big shout-out to Mosley and all that they were able to accomplish last night. And it did seem, in a sense, like, you know, you had James Patterson for Sneeds running against Arnold last week, and he ran for 498 yards and 7 touchdowns, right? So
Have a day.
He almost ran for a state record. And I had this feeling, well, maybe they're going to tote the rock a lot tomorrow or yesterday evening and see a lot of number 12, CJ Chima. Ends up being they were throwing it all over the field. They did have those couple of read options where they were faking it to CJ, and then Sam Freitas takes it into the end zone. But man, it was a heck of a game last night. All of the young men did a excellent job last night. But let's
So
touch
with that
on
performance, do you think Mosley kind of cemented themselves as the number 2 in the area, right behind Bay?
Bay. You know, they won that game head to head, so they are number 1. And then yeah. It's almost like a 1A, 1B, but you have to give the number 1 nod is to Bay High at this point in time. I mean, what they're doing up front on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, very impressive as well.
Good football here in the Panhandle. Let's go.
Yeah, and you got a good one at Tommy Oliver tonight. Y'all go pack it out. Port St. Joe, Bay High. That one should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of other games. We'll get to those as we have time. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. 850-215-6290 is the number to call. Let's get into the game last night, though. We've got Adam Goff in the building, AG, Caveman Rick's on the cameras. We've got Miles Lashley in the building, and our guest for today on Fan Friday, Chef Ross. Chef Ross, what's going on, my friend?
Finally, Chef Ross has returned to the radio.
Yeah,
There we go.
no
Welcome
doubt
back.
about it, man. Got a nice lid on, too. I like that. It looks kind of like a cheese head without it being in the shape of a cheese.
Yeah, it is. I found it on Amazon. Had to get it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. So we got some things we'll be unleashing about the Pops barbecue as well. So we're moving that to October 30th. If you want to give us a quick rundown, I know you just did a commercial, but give us a quick rundown of what's going to be happening there.
So, in order to honor my dad and help raise some money for a good charity in the area, I decided that I should do a charity barbecue event, dinner. And I picked out food for kids because there's a lot of kids that aren't getting fed at all unless it's during the schools.
Right.
So I reached out to them and said, I'm a trained chef and would like to do this barbecue and support you guys. They are more than happy to get on it because, like everything else, COVID stopped a lot of their fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally set up for this Sunday, which is my dad's birthday weekend, first NFL weekend, great time to get everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
Some things happened with the event, and we couldn't get open in time, so it got it pushed back.
Hey,
till
that's
October
just more
30th.
time to perfect it, right?
It is. It gives me time to get a silent auction going together. So any business owner that's wanting to donate to silent auctions, that wants to help me sponsor the event, I gladly take it. My number one goal is to make sure that every dime that are bought by the tickets goes right back to the charity. So I don't want to have to pull out any food cost money.
Fantastic. So
I
how do
love
they
it.
get a hold of you if they want to donate or if they want to have an item for silent auction?
There's a Facebook event page set up, Pop's Pig Pickin' Barbecue,
Pops Pig Pickin' Barbecue. I like it.
and Smoke and Barrel PC at Gmail is my email address.
Okay.
And obviously David and Randy and the people here would help.
Yeah, any information that you need on that, 850-215-6290. You can call us. You can text us, preferably text in that fashion if you're looking for more information on that so I can have, if we're not here and we miss your call, we're not going to be able to see that. But if you text while we're not here, it'll actually, I'll be able to get a hold of that pretty quickly, and then I can get you in touch with Ross or whatever needs to be the next step. Let's talk a little bit about that game. We've got Steve Barnes coming up next. He's a senior writer for therebelwalk.com. And then Sam Peebles will join us at 4:30. We'll catch everybody up on the Braves because we haven't been able to play them as much, and they're only a half game behind the New York Metropolitans right now for first place in the National League East. But let's talk about the NFL game last night. Big-time event, and you've got the defending Super Bowl champions in the Los Angeles Rams taking on, really, I don't think anyone's as close to Super Bowl favorites as what the Buffalo
They're the
Bills came
prohibitive
in.
favorite, there's no
Exactly. So they came in last night, had a heck of a game, ended up winning the game 31-10. But I only got to watch the fourth quarter with 12 minutes and 24 seconds left to go. So I want to get you guys' takes first on this, and I'll try to add in where I can. Who wants to lead us off here? Miles.
Super sloppy game. I'm glad football's back, but that first quarter, I think there was 2-3 turnovers in a row, one after another. And the Bills scored, but then nobody could move the ball for a minute. Just got kind of stale for a second. Some big plays happened here and there. The Bills do look like the favorite overall after watching them beat up on the Rams. And if you just won a Super Bowl, you got to look better than that.
For me, it was the biggest focus of the game for me was that Bills D-line. They rushed 4 the entire night. They sacked Stafford 7 times, forced 4 turnovers, 4 interceptions. They were not – they miss Andrew Whitworth. They miss Big Whit badly. And I'm sure he's probably watching that game last night thinking the same thing.
Should I come back? No, I'm coaching my kids.
He's done what he's needed to do, man. Great career for that guy. Former Bengal as well. But that was my biggest takeaway of the game. I mean, Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He had a couple interceptions. One of them was more on the receiver than it was on him. But, he's made some plays throughout his career that he showed that he did last night that he's shown throughout his career. And I just worry with him running as much as he was, even on first down. There were some couple of plays where he didn't really take hits necessarily, but he was stretched out, and that's when those defenders can come in and kind of wrangle him and twist and turn, and something pops, and then there goes the Bills' Super Bowl chances.
Yeah, who knows? It could be Josh Allen or it could be Jalen Ramsey on the bottom of the dog pile. Who knows?
Right.
One thing I want to point out about that before we keep it moving here is with Josh Allen, I do agree with you on there. And we're going to talk about this later as well. He could be utilizing his legs too much because I know he's a big guy, but all it takes is one wrong step, one wrong turn, one wrong hit, and that could be the season for the Buffalo Bills. And one play that stands out to me is last night, you're up 21 points. There's 5 minutes or less on the clock. It's 3rd and 2, and he's scrambling. And instead of just sliding after picking up the first down, which ices it pretty much, he's continuing to like bang for more yards.
Well, it kills me that Lamar Jackson takes all this gruff from everybody about he's going to get hurt, and look what happened last year. Okay, last year he got sacked in the pocket, and he had a freak injury to his leg. That's what I'm saying. You're putting Josh Allen out there, which he doesn't get the flack for it that Lamar does, and he's putting himself out there just like Lamar is, and the chances of him getting hurt are just as likely. So it kills me that you got a guy that's this talented and seemingly have a pretty good running game with Singletary and Moss, and Cook didn't even really play last night. So
especially after that fumble, they pretty much got benched.
So it was shocking to see just how good Buffalo actually is, and Von Miller was in beast mode.
So yeah, Buffalo had a really good game last night. I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna wait on hitting the panic button right now for the Rams. Last year, first game of the season, we saw basically the Green Bay Packers get their teeth kicked in by the Saints, right? And everybody was like, "Oh my God, what happened here?"
Bills got whooped by the Steelers week
yeah.
1.
So and they were fine the rest of the season. So maybe it was just one game. If it starts happening another time, the next couple games starts becoming pattern forming, then yeah, maybe hit the panic button. But I think it was more to do with the offensive line. They really couldn't move the ball. Stafford obviously didn't have time to throw the ball. He got sacked 7 times last night. So I think that's the biggest hindrance. Some people might say something about the elbow. I don't want to go into great detail. I got a little insider information that the elbow's fine. It has nothing to do with the elbow. If they start using that for an excuse, that's all a lie. Okay. So
That's all. It's all a lie.
I feel like we're at the barbershop right now.
You better watch out before you get Doug Gottlieb, man.
Right.
I'm not getting paid. I'm all right. So anyway, the Bills defense though, Von Miller, Stout. I mean, they were on them all game long. They did not let up, and I wouldn't want to be playing the Bills. Defense definitely this year on the field. Now, if you got them in fantasy, man, you got 18 points last night. That was a hell of a game last night by the Bills D. So
Yeah, no doubt about
that
it.
was really cool.
Ross, what'd you think?
Caveman, how dare you bring logic into this? We're football fans. We overreact about everything. The Rams are done. No, I'm just kidding about that. But we've watched one game. I don't know if it was the Bills' defense is that much better, like that elite, or the Rams' offensive line is that Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of both. Obviously, there's a lot of money being spent in other places for the Rams, so they couldn't solidify that O-line and D-line. But I didn't get a chance to watch any of the game. I was working all night. I saw some highlights. I saw the post-game interview with Josh Allen, and I think he hit it right on the head. Hey, we played a terrible first half, and it's 0-0 coming in.
Yeah.
So I know my defense has my back. I'm going to go out there and win this game. And that's what they did.
Trade Jalen Ramsey.
Trade Jalen
He's
Ramsey.
overrated.
He got cooked last night. I think he's a little overrated the past few years.
He had a
talks a
perfect
lot of
passer rating,
he
if you
talks a
look at
lot
the
of
numbers.
crap about stuff, and he's matched up with the best player every week, and year after year, it just seems like he's getting cooked if you're looking at him.
Yeah, that's not a bad take at all. So last year, let's see, he had Josh Allen speaking of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, kind of touching on that point, he had 763 rushing yards on 122 attempts. For Lamar Jackson last year, now we know he only played 12 games, but he still had 133 rushes and only 5 more yards, 767 rushing yards there. So you're right, though. Lamar runs a little bit more, but still, when you're over that threshold of 100 runs, 100 rushes in a season as a quarterback, you're just opening yourself up for opportunity for injury or freak incident, So also Von Miller, it seems like where he goes, it's almost like Pat Maroon in the NHL, like where he goes, the Super Bowl kind of follows. So I think that Raheem Morris is a extremely talented coach, but whenever, you lose your guys like that, especially a Von Miller who opens up the opportunities for Aaron Donald. Now the offensive line can sit back and key in on what Donald's going to do because you don't got to worry about what's on the opposite side or what's on one side on the defensive end department. So I think Von Miller, Andrew Whitworth, the lack of receiving in the core or the lack of receivers in the core for the Rams, right? It's Cooper Kupp or bust. It's Cooper Kupp or bust. I mean, everyone was high on Allen Robinson coming over, and he's going to be, the Robert Woods before he was injured, or he'll take the place of OBJ. And it's like they might need OBJ to get back there. Or does OBJ look at that game last night and is like, man, Josh Allen looks like a fun guy to play with.
OBJ's waiting until December. He's going to find the best team in the league and say, I want to join you.
I don't blame him on that.
It might take a little time to build some chemistry up, too. I mean, remember, these guys didn't play any preseason, okay? Again, first game, I'll give it a little bit of time. But you got a whole, like you said, new crop of wide receivers. It takes a little time to get that chemistry going. So give them a few more games, and let's see what happens down the road here in a little bit.
Irish Dave Brown says, I think Los Angeles should be called the Scams, not the Rams, just like everything else that comes out of L.A. Thanks so much for the text, and thanks for listening, Irish Dave Brown. We've got to get to a break, take a water break here, get a timeout in, and we'll have Steve Barnes, senior writer for therebelwalk.com, on the line when we return. Keep it locked in to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Listeners in Northwest Florida and South Alabama, be prepared. It's hurricane season, and we're collecting items residents here and around the country will need in the event of a hurricane. Cases of bottled water, cleaning supplies, baby food, first aid, batteries, peanut butter, and other non-perishable food items you don't have to cook. Items can be dropped off at our studios, 700 West 23rd Street, Suite B in Panama City. Hurricane Relief America, sponsored by Event Production, Blab TV, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
By forecast overnight, clouds, showers, and thunderstorms roaming around. 60-70% coverage. The low temperature near 75. Well, on again, off again, rain and thunderstorm activity over the weekend. Spotty sunshine Saturday and Sunday. Highs over the weekend, 82 to 88 degrees. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! That means those pregame barbecues with an ice-cold Pepsi? Totally back. Your perfectly placed football-watching corner seat back and comfy as ever. 18 Sundays of touchdown scoring, Hail Mary throwing, ice-cold Pepsi flowing football action. You better believe it's back. And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. And when we say always, we mean always. Like when your lawn is looking less like a lawn and more like a jungle. If the game's on, then the lawnmower ain't. And those gutters you haven't cleaned? Today is not their day. Or maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
That Boot Store is having a big sale on select clothing, including shirts, jeans, jean shorts, jackets, ball caps, and coats. You know a sale at That Boot Store is something special. So don't miss out. That Boot Store, next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street in Panama City. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto, always keep Jesus in your heart. That Boot Store.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. From Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge. We are live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back inside the Rib Crib radio room. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on not only 104.3, not just 102.1, but also 101.9. That's all ESPN Northwest Florida, 102.1 in Mariana, 101.9 in St. Joe, and 104.3 here in Panama City. Join Destination Panama City for Oktoberfest, Friday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Destination Panama City Visitor Center. The event kickoff with beer tasting, plus you're going to have live music and food trucks. Tickets are $45, but ESPN Northwest Florida has your chance to win free tickets. You got to listen to Coach Hale at 7:45 a.m. and the Afternoon Underdogs at 5:15 on Monday, September 19th, and Tuesday, the 20th, for a chance to win free Oktoberfest armbands from Destination Panama City and ESPN Northwest Florida. That is good for me to know.
Yeah,
that is
very good to know.
That is good to know. All right, we've got Steve Barnes on the line, senior writer for therebelwalk.com. Steve, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, my friend, how you doing?
I am.
And I have to say, I just picked you up on Facebook Live. I see three Northern jerseys on there, and two of them, the Bears and the Packers. Greatest player ever in their franchise, both from like 40 miles from each other in Mississippi with Brett Favre and Walter Payton. So when are you going to rock some Saints jerseys, man?
Well, I'm wearing a Bears jersey because it's Michael Bush. That's where he got drafted. He played at Louisville. That's where I'm from. So,
well, I'll rock on with that. I have a friend there, Momo Sinogo, who's playing linebacker there.
Mm-hmm.
Watch him tonight against UCF.
I'm going to be watching, and
stand out.
I'm not as disappointed tonight as I was on Saturday night.
If I were to get a Saints jersey, it'd either be Roman Harper or Mark Ingram.
Oh, still got to go Archie Manning way back when.
You know where Mark Ingram's father played college football, right?
I'm going to go
Michigan State.
Louisville.
Are you sure it's not Michigan State?
Louisville.
Positive.
Yeah, Michigan State. Mark Ingram's dad, didn't he play at Michigan State?
I played at Louisville.
I'm going to have to check on that because I'm siding with Steve on this one for now. But we don't have a whole lot of time in this segment.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. Steve, so Florida going from unranked to 12th after beating Utah, and then kind of vice versa there. FSU beats LSU by 1 point. Yeah, both of these close games. But they're not ranked, handing the SEC its only loss in week one. The SEC went 13-1 if you count Vanderbilt's win. They're 14-1. What do you make of that situation?
I really do not like polls, especially like 5 weeks in. I really hate the preseason poll because it's like, well, this team lost this many players. This team has this many players coming back. Well, look at last week. Oregon had a bunch of players back. Georgia lost a bunch of them. But the second string of Georgia last year would have started at Oregon. So those things, I mean, come on. I worked at a school where we had the coaches poll. The coach gave the form to his GA, who gave it to the sports information director, who gave it to me, and I gave it to like a student assistant. They don't mean anything until you actually have a resume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great take, and especially as I mean, I don't know. I guess you do got to have a starting point, but what would you recommend they replace the preseason polls with, Steve?
I'm not sure you could replace it with anything. You've got to sell magazines, you've got to sell newspapers, you've got to sell time on TV stations, on ESPN. We have to have our Herbie takes and stuff like that. You're always going to have them. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't rely on them until a team has a resume. I mean, let's face it. who thought that Oregon would lose that much?
Oh yeah,
to Georgia.
The dogs look good, didn't they?
Well, Bo Nix did his thing, right?
Yeah, he did. He did. Let's move on to Ole Miss here for a second. I want to talk about one player in particular. The Rebels got the win over the Trojans 28-10 there. But Zach Evans had 130 yards on the ground and 22, I believe, receiving as well. Would you consider him a dark horse for the Heisman? I know we're way too early. It's about as silly as talking about the polls. But still, I mean, this is kind of one of the guys who I brought up when we talked about dark horses. What are you thinking, Steve?
I think he has about the chance of a Heisman as the guys sitting here on air right now have of winning the Olympic marathon. He has no chance whatsoever. First off, Ole Miss is either going to have to go to the playoffs, and I don't think they will. They would have to go to a New Year's Six Bowl, which they could, but he would have to have a game against somebody that would be like 200 yards against Alabama. I don't see that happening. And to be honest, when we get to November, Thanksgiving, when the Egg Bowl comes, he might not be the best running back on the team. I think it's going to be Quinshon Judkins, the freshman.
I like it.
Run on.
Hey, Steve, AG here. Just a quick question for you. Appalachian State and North Carolina last week. Now you've got Appalachian State facing Mississippi State.
A&M.
Or Texas A&M, sorry. What are we thinking is going to happen in that game? Are we going to see another North Carolina shootout?
I think what's going to happen, well, with both those teams, UNC goes to Georgia State. Georgia State lost by 21 to South Carolina, but two of those touchdowns were by block punts. Georgia State's a little better than people think, and if UNC has a little bit of a letdown, man, that could be problematic. Now, App State going to A&M, I think App State hurts a little bit. Just by losing that one at home, they're gonna play tough, but I like A&M.
All right, good stuff. So this weekend, in the big game between BYU and Baylor, Mormons versus Baptists, who you got?
I love what Dave Aranda's doing, and I saw them up close and personal at Sugar Bowl last year against Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. I love BYU. I told Miles a couple of weeks ago, I think BYU could beat Arkansas soon. But in this one, I think it's going to be one of those things about what are you looking to after this one. And BYU has to go to Oregon the next week. Baylor has Texas State. I think Baylor can put a little more emphasis on this one, even though it's in Provo. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like the Bears.
I like that take. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Steve Barnes, senior writer for therebelwalk.com. Y'all make sure to go check out therebelwalk.com. He's got great articles, and it's a lot of fun to read. He doesn't just cover Ole Miss, as you can tell. I mean, he knows all. He knows about it all. Steve, which SEC game are you looking forward to the most this week?
Well, I think the obvious would be Arkansas and South Carolina, or Florida and Kentucky, mm-hmm. or possibly UT and Pitt. I think those, especially the Arkansas and South Carolina game, that's going to be Beamer versus Pittman, and whoever comes out of that one, solidly in good shape in their division. But at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, when Alabama starts playing Texas, I'm going to be watching Wake Forest and Vandy. I want to see if Vanderbilt can actually go 3-0, and if they do, speaking about the polls, they're going to be in the top 25.
Yeah.
Do we think they'll be in the top 25 in December? There's no way at all. But with Sam Hartman coming back, and I think I told you a few weeks ago. I know I wrote it. My favorite player in the SEC this year is Mike Wright, the quarterback at Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. I just love that kid. The run he had against Hawaii for I think it was 87 yards for a touchdown, would have been the third fastest run in the NFL last year. Plus, the kid knows what a Hercules beetle is. Come on, this kid's cool.
So what you're saying is I should save my $10 on Vandy national champion Vegas prop bet.
No, he said buy.
I bet the 10 because Vegas had had Vandy at 2.5 wins. So you could cash your chip in next week if they happen to win.
Yeah.
And they have Northern Illinois next week. I think you would definitely cash it in.
Hey, Steve, speaking of that Arkansas-Cincinnati game last week, I know Arkansas's got a big one coming up tomorrow, but were you more impressed with Cincinnati defensively, or were you more impressed with the fact that Arkansas was able to pull it out at the end?
I was shocked that Cincinnati was that good. I thought that Arkansas would beat them by 21, and I love KJ Jefferson. That guy, I watched him against Ole Miss last year. Scored 6 touchdowns, 3 for 3, ran for 3, and then Sam Pittman said, well, he's grown up now. Really? That was immature last week or last year? Oh, my God. What can he do? But what Cincinnati did to him, I was very impressed with the Bearcats. I still don't think they are going to get the Group of 5 bid. I still think it's going to be Houston, but it's going to be a fun game between Cincy and Houston.
Did the close game with UTSA deter you any bit from from Houston being the darlings like Cincinnati was last year?
No, because UTSA is really, really good.
Yeah,
that was a fun game.
What, they finished 12-2 last year? 12-1? Somewhere around there. They had a good win-loss record.
I think they had to go 12-2 because they lost the bowl game, but 12-1 in the regular season, 12-1 in the regular season.
So Steve, give us some of the notable high school football games going on in Pensacola tonight, and what exactly will you be doing with your former classmates?
Well, I'll tell you what. Over here, there's only one game between undefeated teams, and that's West Florida Tech against Pace. And, oh, boy, yeah, that sounds really delightful, doesn't it? But there's another one, St. Stanislaus, who is out of, I believe, Ocean Springs, or Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. They're coming to play Catholic, and Catholic's 2-0. Now, St. Stanislaus, they produced Miles Brennan, who went to LSU, and a fraternity brother of mine, who always told me how great they were. Yeah. Washington plays at Milton. Milton's 0-2, and I can't figure that one out because they have the number 109 player in the country, a guy named Raymond Cottrell's a wide receiver. He's 6'3", 205, runs like a deer. Already committed to Georgia. He committed to Florida early but changed his mind. They're 0-2, and this kid started as a freshman. It's about time for this kid to stand up and say, you know what? I got to put this team on my back, and we've got to do something. Or that, I think Milton, if they go 0-3, it's going to be a bad year. But for personal reasons, my favorite is Northview at Tate. I'm a Tate grad. And over here, we call it the north end of the county in Pensacola. Tate is actually the largest school in the county. Northview's the smallest, but they're only about 30 minutes apart. Northview is like 10 minutes from Atmore, Alabama, and Tate's up there too. And in fact, when I was at Tate, we had students from Alabama go to our high school when I was there. But the cool thing is the coaches are brothers. It's Wes Summerford against Rhett Summerford, which will be kind of cool. And their dad was one of my high school coaches, Neil Summerford, back when we won state in 80. And back then, I mean, we were pretty good, not so much now, but it's the start of my 40th class reunion tonight. And the cool thing about that, I can't make it because I'm going to be typing about college football tomorrow. But one of my classmates and one of my teammates, Mike Sherrill, he was on that state championship team, then went to Troy. It won a 1984 D2 championship ring. Now he's the principal at Northview.
How about
so
that?
if he misses a reunion, something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Have fun tonight. Be safe tonight too.
Hey, Steve, thanks so much for giving us some of your time. We got to run to a break, my friend.
Hey, man, y'all have a good night.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your college football. It's going to be a blast this weekend. Can't wait to touch base with Steve next week. Steve's the senior writer for TheRebelWalk.com, TheRebelWalk.com, and he has fantastic content, as does the rest of TheRebelWalk.com. I'm telling you, go check out the website. You will not regret it. We've got Sam Peebles in the on-deck circle. He'll be on with us next.
weather in Northwest Florida can change on a dime.
Gale force winds bombarded with heavy rain.
That's why 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has the most up-to-date forecast on the Gulf Coast. Hi, this is staff meteorologist Tim Root with over 40 years of experience. I know just how fast we can go from sun and fun to a serious situation. For the most accurate and detailed weather when it matters, rely on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Lake Sand Scout Show is coming to the Church at the Beach on September 17th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
It's totally free, and you'll get to see some of the great adventures that are possible if you join Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts.
There will be shooting ranges, horseback rides, educational displays, and more.
Oh, and Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts aren't just for boys anymore. You just have to be at least 5 years old. Join today at beascout.org.
Wagwan, wagwan. Big things happening at Jay's Kitchen. Our Jamaican and American cuisine is up. Everything is authentic and full of flavor. Open from 7:30 to 10 p.m. for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have oxtails, curry goat, jerk chicken, jerk pork, ackee and saltfish, chicken and waffle. Join us for happy hour from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. with cocktails and beer. Come and check us out, located across from Walmart and Front Beach right behind the Murphy's gas station. We also deliver with DoorDash.
Dust off your lederhosen. Get ready for historic downtown Panama City's 34th annual Oktoberfest. Kick off the weekend on Friday, September 23rd with Destination Panama City's second annual Oktoberfest craft beer tasting. Guests will enjoy unlimited access to craft beers, ciders, and meads on the beautiful Love PC lawn at 101 West Beach Drive. Plus, there's going to be food trucks and live music by Sons of Saints. This ticketed event will sell out, so get yours before it's too late. On Saturday, September 24th, Oktoberfest starts at 3 p.m. with fun for the whole family. The free event will have live music, seasonal and craft beer tents, and food booths with authentic German cuisine lining the streets alongside local businesses offering shopping, dining, and entertainment. For more information and tickets, visit DestinationPanamaCity.com. Host.
Live from the Rib Crib studio. They said it couldn't be done. The Afternoon Underdogs are live.
They say it can't be done.
Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back. We're here inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes. We've got Adam Goff, Caveman, Rick, Chef Ross, Miles Lashley in the building. And I got to give my apologies to James Kelly Jr. He asked, how about Parrish at Miami? He was a former Ole Miss running back. He wanted Steve to give his synopsis on that. Sorry we weren't able to get to that question, James, but we do appreciate you listening. Tonight, after the Afternoon Underdogs, you're going to get some Paul Feinbaum until 7:25 when the coverage will start for the Atlanta Braves. They're taking on the Mariners tonight. First pitch at 8:40. Charlie Morton on the hill for the Bravos, taking on Robbie Ray. And our home guy for the Braves is none other than Sam Peebles, host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast, and does a litany of other things. Sam, welcome in. How's it going?
Going great. Full crew in there today.
Yeah, we really do, man. And we're ready to talk some Bravos and baseball and beyond as well. So let's get into it. Dansby Swanson is a Brave next year. True or false?
I would say odds are favoring it just because, you know, the backlash they got with Freddie Freeman, although it's worked out just fine, and the fact that they've already started talking contract extension mid-season, whereas with Freddie Freeman, they did not talk during the regular season. This year, they've already started engaging in talks. So that points to me that they are going to be trying their best. Not to mention, there's a lot more top-tier shortstops that will be free agents this year. Mm-hmm. It looks like Correa will be in there, Trey Turner will be in there, Xander Bogaerts will be in there, and all three of those guys are looking to demand more money than Dansby Swanson is. So that would put Dansby Swanson fourth on the list of shortstops of free agents, and that will bring down his cost a little bit, which might put it in more comfortable range for the Braves. But ultimately, it's going to come down to if they can agree. I'm sure they both want to make something happen, but it's going to be Dansby Swanson, what he thinks his value is versus what the Braves are willing to pay.
Hey, Sam, AG here. Going along with the previous question here, how much leverage do the Braves have knowing the success that Von Grissom has had, and they can just move him over to short?
Well, Von Grissom was a shortstop in the minors, but they can't just move him over to short. Almost all of the scouts profile him as a second baseman. Now, I'm sure the Braves will try to leverage that, but I don't think that they're fully comfortable with knowing that Von Grissom would be the replacement at shortstop. Ultimately, what I believe they're going to do is they are going to try to use Von Grissom in sort of a super utility role, much like Ben Zobrist or Chris Taylor. You know, the Braves have such a solid roster that they're able to do a true super utility, not just a guy that is depth, but a guy that will play every single day and just move around the diamond.
I like that. How many has he played outside of second base this year for Atlanta?
No, but he has been taking reps in left field.
Okay. That's good to know, though. So you got something, Ross?
I was just going to go to the next question.
Okay, all right, well, let's get into that. Let me kind of lead into that real quick because of the way that I have the question typed into here. So the MLB has came out and approved, not unanimously, though, a couple of rule changes, and I'm curious to see how you feel about it. First, let's get into the pitch clock, all right? And then I'll let Ross kind of take over from there. Sam, how are you feeling about the pitch clock, and do you think that since it's not unanimous, there could be some pushback involved, like maybe these rules don't end up becoming factual for next year?
Well, the panel was made up of 11 people, and only 4 of those people were players, and all 4 players voted against it. Just to give some context there for anyone that's listening. So yeah, like David said, the players don't like it, and the reason why is because in and of itself, the pitch clock truly isn't that bad. I mean, you got 15 seconds if no one is on base, 20 seconds if you do. However, there's also a limit on pickoff attempts. So because there's a limit on pickoff attempts and how many times you can step off the mound, base runners can now manipulate that and use the pitch clock to their advantage to get an unfair advantage when stealing bases. And pitchers and players don't like that because now there's a time clock that they can manipulate rather than it just being, the pitcher and the catcher versus the base runner trying to steal the base. Now the base runner now has a true advantage that the pitcher and catcher can't help, because if the pitcher's already used all his pickoff attempts or he only has 1 left and the pitch clock gets down to 2 seconds and they're able to time it just right, there's no way that the pitcher's going to be able to pick him off.
All right. What about the shift? How you? Well, let's break it. Anybody else have anything else with the pitch clock? Why they do like it? Why they don't like it?
So you think that with the limit on pickoff attempts, the quick pitch comes back into play, where the pitcher just throws early?
He's going to have. I mean, they're going to have to. They're going to have to try something, and that's another thing I think why they don't like it is for the past few years they've been learning how to pitch in a certain environment, and now they're going to have to completely change that. And that's going to take a mental toll on a lot of guys.
That's going to be interesting because you've actually been to a game, I believe it was the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, where they were utilizing the pitch clock, right?
Right. It didn't seem to affect the pitcher very much, although with it being in the minor leagues, I'm not sure how strict they were. And that pitch clock was 26 seconds. It wasn't the 20 or the 15 that they're going to have in Major League. So that's a huge difference there.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised about just kind of it almost changes the fundamentals of baseball.
Yeah, no doubt.
I agree. The whole point, one of the fun things about baseball is there is no true time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of guys going out there playing a game. There's no time clock. There's no time restrictions. It's truly his skill versus his skill, or softball, her skill versus her skill, or whatever. And that element is now gone. And it's kind of sad. I mean, I get it. They want to shorten the games. They've done studies saying if you had a pitch clock, it's going to shorten a game by like 40 minutes. But, if I'm going to a game and I'm paying ticket prices, I want to get as much time out of it as I can. I don't care if the game's shorter. Like I'd rather it be longer. Honestly, I'm getting more minutes per dollar spent.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's why everybody loves when they go to extra innings, and that's why they don't want the runners on second like they had last year. Wait.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Yeah,
Still doing it. Yeah, I can't.
They brought
I
it
mean,
back.
yeah. Every time that we get into an extra innings game, I'm like, this is just so pointless. We're not playing slow pitch softball out here. This is baseball. But everything changes. They're trying to get younger eyes in. I get trying to knock the games off from what we're close to about an average of 3 hours and 15 minutes. I would say that's a guess, but they're saying down in the minor leagues with this pitch clock being implemented that they're getting them down to about 2.5 hour games. So for the people who want things to happen a little quicker, hey, I mean, I guess that works for them. But for me, I'm right there with you, Sam.
The Savannah Bananas are packing out their stadium in a 2-hour time limit.
Yeah, but they don't have all the TV timeouts and all the TV money come in where they have to break and make money with the commercials like the pros do.
He's just dressed like a Savannah Banana. That's why he's bringing it up.
Sam, what about the shift? How are you feeling about the shift? I think you've spoke on that before, but that basically now you're going to have 2 people on either side of second base, and it does come down to being a reviewable play. So if you have your left foot, if you're the shortstop and your left foot's on the other side of second base, challenge that sucker. We might put a runner on first base. What's your thoughts here with the shift being banned?
I think it's so stupid. Like, if you're worried about the shift stopping you from hitting the ball, then adjust. You're a professional baseball player.
Exactly.
If you're worried about not being able to hit the ball to left field because you got 4 people over there, learn how to hit it opposite field.
Exactly. I've been saying that for a long
And so now
time.
the pitchers, again, are at a huge disadvantage because now they're not able to do things like that. Offense is going to shoot through the roof. Watch it. Look at the average ERA plus next year. It's going to skyrocket. ERA plus is the league average. So, like, if a pitcher had an ERA plus of 100 and his ERA was, say, 330, that would mean that the league average ERA is 330. It's going to skyrocket next year. There's going to be a lot more runs scored next year, and it's going to be stupid stuff like the New York Mets have been doing all year, just getting little bloopers over second base. And I don't know. It's just not – it takes strategy out of the game, and I love strategy.
Yeah.
So they're doing everything possible, just like the NFL has, to take strategy out of the game and just make it high scoring the entire time, and I'm just not for it.
And so now would you think then, like, athletic infielders, like a more athletic second baseman that can get over quicker, that's going to be a hotter commodity nowadays, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that is a good point, and I do think that the league is starting to understand how important defense is already. So adding that, yeah, I agree. Defense is going to be even more valuable, and from a glass half full perspective, that's a very good point. I'm a big fan of defense, and you're going to see more and more people appreciate defense because of this.
Half game behind the Mets. We're talking with Sam Peebles. The Braves are a half game behind the Mets for first place in the National League East. What has been the key to the Braves' run down this stretch, but especially during this 7-game win streak?
Well, really, for the whole season, it's been that the Braves have won games they're supposed to win, and the Mets have not. If you look at the Mets and the Braves and you look at their winning percentages against teams with losing records, so theoretically they should have won those games. If the Braves were to play their entire schedule against teams that were under 500, they were on pace to win 119 games. If the Mets were to play their entire schedule against teams that were below 500, they'd only win 112 games. So that's a 7-game shift right there just against sub-500 teams. So Mets fans and not just Mets fans themselves, but really anyone that's following strength of schedule, things like that. Strength of schedule matters, and you need to look at things like this, though. Just because the Mets have played more teams with winning record and they've fared better, that also means if the records are tied or right around tied, that means that they're also losing games they shouldn't be losing. So, really the deciding factor is that the Mets have lost games that they shouldn't have lost. That's not to say the Mets are not a good team. They're a very, very good team, and they deserve to have as many wins as they do. That's just, to me, has been the deciding factor.
Sam, real quick before we go to a break, it sounds to me like you're agreeing with my side of the argument now on Twitter that we had, where I said that the strength of schedule doesn't matter to the Mets. or it doesn't matter because the Mets have the easier strength of schedule, because it doesn't always mean anything. But you came back and said, well, it's a different situation with the Mets than it was with, other teams, and I told you it wasn't.
Twitter beef to real life beef. Let's go.
It's always fun to see him on Twitter.
You're misinterpreting me here. What I'm saying is, if you have an easier schedule, the odds are more in your favor. So let's just use some basic math right now. If you were to buy a lottery ticket, would you take the one that has 1 in 5 odds, or would you take the one that has 1 in 8 odds? You'd buy the one that has 1 in 5 odds, even though both have a chance of not being successful. The 1 in 8 still has a chance of winning. The 1 in 5, and the 1 in 5 not winning.
What about what you're winning?
In every chance possible, you want to take the highest probability.
No, and I get that, but I was just you just simply said that the Mets are losing to teams that they shouldn't be losing to, and their strength of schedule is easier than the Braves is at this point. And it just goes to show that it's not always about the easiest schedule.
Maybe we just have a misinterpretation across the board here. Sam, real quick here, Brewers or Orioles more likely to sneak into the wild card spot in their respective leagues? I was about to say conferences.
I would say the Brewers, just simply for multiple reasons here, that the Brewers have a higher probability. They have a 29.4% chance to clinch a wild card spot versus the Orioles only having a 2.9% chance. So do the Orioles have a chance? Sure, but it's getting less and less every day. And so I'm going to go with the team that has the highest playoff odds, not to mention that Milwaukee is only 2.5 games behind
Philadelphia. I didn't want you to say that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And, well, here's the difference, though. Philadelphia has a better offense, so
don't they have an easier schedule down the stretch, too, I believe?
The Orioles, though, the teams that they have ahead of them, I don't see them. I mean, they're 4.5 games behind a team that's in their own division. The only thing that will help them is that Toronto has a pretty rough schedule ahead of them. But I see the Brewers having a better chance.
Hey, Sam, thanks so much for giving us some of your time. Where's your latest and greatest article coming from? And also, anywhere you check out your podcast, make sure you tune in to the Braves Dugout podcast. Tell them where your latest article is, man.
All right, you can find my latest article on either Fansided or it's on the featured section of MLB on MSN.com. You want to check it out, the power rankings of the Cy Young Award winners. And you can check my podcast wherever you get your podcast at. And thanks for listening and thanks for reading my stuff. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving us some of your time, Sam. We'll catch up with you next time.
Absolutely. Go Braves.
Go Braves. Don't touch that dial because we're going to have the Braves here. We've also got a little bit of breaking news, and it hits close to one of our members here on the panel today. So keep it locked in right here, 104.3, or if you're in Marietta, 102.1, or Port St. Joe, 101.9. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Football. ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're carrying so many college football games this season, it's incredible, and all in ultra high fidelity. You're going to feel like you're in the game this Saturday. Here's a big one for you. Kentucky Wildcats at the Florida Gators, and we've got coverage starting at 5:30. Kickoff at 6 Saturday. College football on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by PCB Coins and Cards.
Get ready for the PCB Fishing Rodeo September 23rd through October 9th at Captain Anderson Marina. Join us for the kickoff party Saturday, September 24th with live music from 4 till 7 p.m. To be a part of this exciting event, you can register at Captain Anderson Marina or online at PCBFishingRodeo.com. The PCB Fishing Rodeo, September 23rd through October 9th. Tiger TV Pro is a new streaming service that provides you with over 3,000 channels for only $15 a month. You probably spend more than that on lunch these days. Get local channels, entertainment networks, premium movie channels, news and weather channels, and more. Tiger TV Pro even includes all the sports networks, including ACC, SEC, NFL, MLB, and NHL. Sign up's easy. Just go to espnpc.com, scroll down, and click the Tiger logo.
Mid-South Lumber has new owners. Stop in and visit Ann and Dave. They're on site every day to make you a priority. They're not the typical big box store, and customer service is their #1 priority. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Transform your home with James Hardy Siding. Durability, fire resistant, sustainability. James Hardy Color Plus is virtually maintenance free and comes with a 30-year warranty. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. We are live and local. From Camp Helen State Park to the historic Martin Theater.
Definitely time to let our hair down and have some fun.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? It's time to play some trivia. 850-215-6290. You got to call in to win. For your chance to win, $25 gift card to not the, but that boot store. $15 gift certificate to Golf Plus out there at the shops at Edgewater. And a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, who ran the famous Punt Rooski play against Clemson in 1988. Anybody know?
We're talking player, not team, right?
Player, yeah.
I wasn't alive, or I would know.
He is a Florida State player, recently made it into the Hall of Fame.
You don't have to be alive to know history, Miles.
This thing called the
You do. Hold on. You do have to be alive to know history, though.
Well, you don't have to be born then, okay? You can know about stuff that happened before your time that you were born.
It's called a history book.
I like to live in the present.
Or sports almanac, perhaps.
All right, some of the breaking news we were talking about. Not only is BYU going to be missing their top 2 wide receivers against the Baylor Bears, so that's going to impact that game, but also Chef Ross is a big Green Bay Packers fan, and it looks like Alan Lazard is doubtful for this Sunday against division foe Minnesota Vikings. And Minnesota Vikings, the Vikings defense isn't going to be as vaunted as what it was in the previous years with Mike Zimmer, but Kevin O'Connell comes in and is going to, I mean, who knows? We could see Kirk Cousins. We might see, 10 games where he says, "Do you like that?" rather than, 7 or 8. So what's your thoughts on this as a Packers fan?
What time's kickoff?
3:25 right here, and you can listen to that game, the Packers versus the Vikings, right here on 104.3 ESPN North. Don't interrupt me. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. All right, take off, Ross.
Kirk Cousins is Mr. Noon kickoff guy. I think everything else he's way below 500.
He's the new Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
That's a
so it's
good
a late
point.
kick. We have Robert Tonyan coming back from his ACL injury.
Mm-hmm.
We have really basically no one else to throw it to. But
Romeo Dubs. Yeah, Romeo Dubs out there.
The Vikings are
Christian
different this year.
Watson. You know what? Aaron Jones is probably going to be huge in that game, honestly.
I got the Vikings in this one, man. I think. I hate to say it. But.
Oh, we're going to dive into who we got winning and losing. I've got a game from the 12 o'clock slot, from the 3:25, or from the 3 o'clock slot, and then Sunday Night Football. And then we're also going to get into what you think the best game of the weekend or of Sunday is going to be, what the worst game on the docket is, and who, if you were in a Survivor League, who would your pick be this week? But I find that to be big news because, like you said, we really don't know what who the targets are going to be, who the top targets. Like Robert Tonyan, yeah, he's definitely going to be one, as long as he's healthy, is going to be one of the mainstays on that Packers offense. I think that it elevates Aaron Jones' fantasy value through the roof, right? Because A.J. Dillon isn't that guy who catches passes out of the backfield. A.J. Dillon is a force. He's a horse.
Ram.
Yeah, exactly. So he's the guy that you give the ball to in, goal-to-go situations. You're on the goal line, 4th and 1, 3rd and short, those type of situations.
It puts the impetus on, young guys like Romeo Dubs and Christian Watson to step up. I mean, we heard Aaron Rodgers come out and say that, that that receiving corps was struggling even with Alan Lazard there in training camp. And so, now here we are, week 1, and it's looking like they're going to be without their #1 returning receiver. So it's going to be interesting to see on Sunday.
But our defense is stellar, too.
True.
It's funny because I also I don't want to take too much time, put too much time into it, but I would like everyone to give, like, the two teams who at this point, will be in the Super Bowl. And I'm just kind of curious to see who everyone throws out, because I think a lot of people have written the Packers off, but we've got to write ourselves off. Take a quick break. When we got back, we've got someone on for trivia. We'll play the game with you. So my friend who's on the line with us, just hang on till we get back from break. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves country.
This is unbelievable. The Atlanta Braves are making a push to the playoffs, and we've got coverage every step of the way. Tonight, the Atlanta Braves continue their West Coast road trip. Definitely going to stay up past our bedtime for this one. Atlanta Braves at Seattle Mariners. Coverage starts at 7:25, first pitch at 8:40, right here on your home for the Atlanta Braves. It's 104.3, 102.1, and 101.9 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The forecast for this afternoon: stalled out weather front over the region. That'll give us more cloud showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and tonight. The high today around 85, the low tonight about 75. On again, off again, rain showers and thunderstorms over the weekend, mostly cloudy in the mid-80s. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Get ready for the PCB Fishing Rodeo September 23rd through October 9th at Captain Anderson Marina. Join us for the kickoff party Saturday, September 24th with live music from 4 till 7 p.m. To be a part of this exciting event, you can register at Captain Anderson Marina or online at PCBFishingRodeo.com. The PCB Fishing Rodeo, September 23rd through October 9th.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida. The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs, broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Engage. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, I'll tell you what love is. It's playing the game with us, and we've got a caller on line one. Caller, who we got on the line with us, and where are you calling from?
Hey, man, this is Rob from Lynn Haven.
Hey, Rob, what's going on, my friend?
How y'all doing today? I just got the answer, but I remember watching that game because I am a little older than y'all. But it was a direct snap to Leroy Butler. He went around the left-hand side off the tackle and ran all the way down to, didn't quite get into the goal to the end zone, but he was pretty darn close.
Yes, sir. And then that ended up giving the Seminoles a 24-21 win over the Tigers. So you just won $25 to not the, but that boot store. $15 gift certificate to Golf Plus and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. Thanks, Lynn Haven, Rob.
Sounds great, man.
Yes,
y'all,
sir.
Good show. Talk to y'all. See you.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, man.
A
So,
loyal listener there. We love Lynn Haven Rock.
oh, yeah, no doubt. And I don't know. I think early into the stop set there was a PCB Fishing Rodeo, or maybe it was one of the latest commercials that played. But that's going down at the Captain Anderson's Marina. And Lynn Haven Rob, who was just on the line with us, was actually the weigh-in master.
Oh, sweet.
For
That's
the
cool.
second and third years of that. So that's a pretty cool little tidbit of information that I learned today. Yeah, but definitely appreciate the loyal listeners. Now let's get into college football week 2. Before we do that, I want to let you guys know that we are your home for the most touchdowns on the Gulf Coast. We've got Kentucky at Florida. this Saturday, 5:30 for the pregame, and then the kick is at 6, and that one is going to be a big time game in the SEC East, right? Because it's one of those move them up or move them down type games.
Who finishes second?
Yeah, I mean that really is what the battle is for right now. After watching Georgia, I think it's pretty safe to say that. But Georgia Kentucky played late into the season. I believe it's like the third from the last game for Georgia. So I mean, you play your cards right, and you get to that game at an undefeated position, and then who knows what we're talking about.
Right.
Because Kentucky will get some of the players that they don't have right now due to violation of team rules and
They were
other
suspended,
stuff.
but not really suspended.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to find real information on what's going on with the Kentucky players who are in a bit of trouble right now. But
was it just one compliance officer at the school?
It's UK,
Asking
so
for a
probably
friend.
there's 0. It's a basketball school.
I'm not sure, but that's going to be a interesting game, and we're going to be picking that. So our results after week 1, we'll start from the bottom and work our way to the top here. Tied in the bottom 3 here, you got AG, Brian Haddad, and Tyler Bishop. They're only 3 games back here at 4 and 6. Then the next tier, Caveman Rick, Drew Gorman, and Miles Lashley sitting at 500 at 5 and 5. Then you got Amanda Muller, Barrett Townsend, Max DeLayden, and Todd Mueller all sitting at 6 and 4. And our leader is sitting at 7 and 3. So
Paragon.
we'll move on to now. We're not going to give his name because I don't like to. That you talk about karma, shooting yourself down real quick. When we used to play rapid fire and do the stuff for the belt, like anytime I would win, I'd be like, let's not play this.
Rhymes
up or
with
anything.
gave and days.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into our picks for week 2. Let's start off with the big noon kickoff, where College Game Day is going to be. From what I heard from Reese Davis, and I'm not talking personally speaking with Reese Davis, but he was talking
friend
with
of the show.
yeah, friend of the show, Reese Davis. Got big ties with College Game Day and whatnot. I'm excited to watch just for the Pat McAfee experience and what
Right.
that's going to bring on a week-to-week basis. But I don't think that Matthew McConaughey is going to be the guest picker this week.
Which is weird.
Yeah, that's definitely weird. I mean,
Not a true Texas fan, obviously.
that's exactly what Miles said. Let's get into it, though. Number 1, Bama at unranked Texas. Texas is getting 20.5 points at the house and no $1 million band either. Because y'all remember 2000, I believe it was 19, Texas LSU played, right? And Texas put the LSU band
In the nosebleeds.
in the
all the way up
nosebleeds.
there,
Yeah, and I believe in their locker room for the LSU players, there was no air conditioning or anything like that. So they did the same with Alabama's band, and Alabama's band sees the section of where they're going to be, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to this game." Yeah. So no $1 million band. You're on the road. Will the Tide cover 20.5 points? AG, let's start with you, and don't forget to. Oh, you already have. All right,
Yeah.
you guys are ahead of the game.
Yeah, we did our homework.
We know what's up.
I think
What a
Bama,
witness.
I think Bama does cover. This is kind of a bridge year for Sark and the Longhorns. It's an interesting game, interesting matchup. But I think, looking at Saban's record, he's only lost once to one of his former assistants, and that was last year in the national championship game, or twice.
Twice in the
Fisher
same
to
year.
A&M. But I think Bama is just too strong defensively, and we're going to see what Quinn Ewers has to offer. And that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing is what Quinn Ewers is looking like against a team like Alabama.
Yeah, I love it, Miles.
I'm going to go with Texas to cover. It's going to be 97 degrees, 96 at kickoff. Ridiculous heat. It's 11 a.m. Bama never plays 11 a.m. games. The last time they have was like an FCS opponent, lower opponent, somebody they can easily beat up on. I just can't see them covering this game. I think it's going to be too big for them too early in the season. But I think it will help them in the stretch. But I got Texas covering.
You don't sound like a real fan, Miles.
Right.
And look. If I bet on Bama either way, it's going to go the wrong way.
All right, Ross, where you at with this one?
20.5 looks like a very big number. Bama's really, really good, but I'll take the points. I think that Texas covers.
All right, I like it. Caveman Rick?
Not much more to say. Everybody's pretty much covered it really well. I'm interested to see, how Texas goes since you got a lot of change. Hopefully they're on the up and up now. I know, a lot of people from Texas are probably thinking that, and then you got those people, that typically say stuff like the NCAA is better when schools like Texas are doing well or more involved and relevant. Yeah, whatever, I don't care. Bama wins, covers, Bama by 30.
I'll echo my man, Caveman Rick. I love it. I don't know about 30, but I'll take Bama to cover 20.5. Let's move on to one of the games that Steve Barnes was more intrigued by, more intrigued with Wake Forest and Vandy more so than Bama and Texas. So number 23, Wake Forest at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's getting 8.5 points here. Let's start with you, Caveman Rick.
Oh, Vanderbilt's been surprising people a lot lately. But I just don't think they're just going to have this run and go 3-0, or have people be able to cash in if they took the over on the wins there. Might take them an extra week or two. So I'm going to take Wake Forest and covering.
Chef Ross.
I'm on the Vandy bandwagon. What the heck?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm ready to see what Vandy can do. I don't think Wake Forest's defense is that good, so I know Vandy's going to score, and I think they can keep it within 8.5. Look, Vandy's going to score. They put up a lot of points the past 2 weeks, something we've never seen before.
They also gave up a lot of points to Elon Musk. So
look, it's going to be a shootout.
All right, man. All right. Hey, you're entitled to that opinion. I love it. What you got, AG?
You've got Sam Hartman coming back, which is the heart and soul of that team. Not only is he that leader of that team, but he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, he's going to be going into a hostile crowd of about 3,500 people there in Nashville. So I don't foresee Wake Forest having any trouble covering this 8.5.
Yeah, I'm going with Wake Forest, too. It will be interesting to see that portion of the game, right? Like Sam Hartman coming off of with the blood clot issue and stuff. Like, will he be in week 2 form? You know what I mean? Or is he going to be? Yeah, well, because they're not in mid-season right now. But will he be game shape? I like that better than or week 2 form is fine. So I'm going Wake Forest to beat him by more than at least 10. At least 10, I think you got Wake Forest. Vandy always gets so high on themselves when they see 1-0 or 2-0, and I don't like Vandy at all in this game.
Yeah.
But hey, I've been wrong plenty of times before. In fact, 3 times last week.
I'll be listening for the Whistler.
All right, let's move on to number 24, Tennessee, at number 17, Pittsburgh. Chef Ross, lead us off with this one. Pittsburgh has to cover 6.5 points, or they get 6.5 points at the house here.
Man, what the heck? I'll just go with the Tennessee McDonald's bags.
All right, there we go. They're past that tenure, but I like it.
I'm going with Pittsburgh. It's in Pittsburgh. I think they have a really physical defense. Tennessee I haven't seen the improvement from their defense yet. No, they haven't played anybody, but I haven't seen that yet. I think this is going to be another shootout, and I'm taking Pittsburgh to win as well.
All right.
I've got Tennessee winning, and I don't feel like we're going to see a Pittsburgh team like we saw last year. I mean, like we saw them last week against West Virginia. They looked sloppy, turning the ball over. I think if you do that and give Hooker more opportunities to score, he's going to do it.
I'm right there with you on this one. I'm taking – Miles, did we skip over you? No, we got you in there. I'm going with Tennessee to win this game by a touchdown. Their offense is going to be potent with Hendon Hooker, and he doesn't turn the ball over very much at all. And, Pitt had that great win against West Virginia in the backyard brawl to kick the season off. But at the end of the day, I think what Tennessee is building over here with Coach Heupel is something. They might give some teams a run for their money, but I think they come out the victor in this one by a touchdown or more. Caveman Rick?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Tennessee's making something happen, making some noise. Supposed to be their year again, right? But actually there's a little bit more truth this year than probably most years. Pittsburgh's got a lot of change, new quarterback. Even at the house, I'll still take Tennessee to win this one.
All right, good stuff there. We got Sherry Manfield saying, listening from Maumelle, Arkansas, and she is the mama of City Fields, who covers the Arkansas Razorbacks for fifth quarter Arkansas. Let's get into our fourth game on the docket here. App State visiting number 6 in the nation, Texas A&M. Texas A&M's got to win by 18.5. Miles, what you got?
Easy App State all day. They got some playmakers over there. They put up points. A&M's overrated just like every single year since they've been a school. They haven't.
He doesn't know history though. He doesn't know history though.
They've been overrated forever. App State to cover.
App State to cover. All right. Where you at on this one, AG?
I've got Texas A&M winning this one, but I'm with Miles. I think App State covers the 18.5. I mean, they put up 40 on North Carolina in the fourth quarter alone last week. There's something to be said for that. They were one wide receiver.
I think that was
down.
more about North Carolina.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Even with North Carolina having probably the worst defense in the country, that's still hard to put up 40 points in 15 minutes.
Right, you have 15 minutes. You put up 40 points, and they were a wide receiver from falling down away from winning that game. So I think A&M covered, or A&M wins. But
if North Carolina wasn't answering back so fast, App State wouldn't have had the time to.
Yeah, the stupidest thing North
points.
Carolina could have done last week was run that kickoff back for a touchdown.
Good point.
Man, speaking of that, man, in that Mosley Dolphins game last night, Cree Ross was suspended for the first half due to violation of team rules. Opening kickoff of the third quarter takes it to the house.
Nice.
So for me, man, this is tough. I would almost rather just not pick this game. I would love to say App State, but I think Texas A&M is going to come at this game from a different angle than what they did against, Sam Houston or whoever they were playing, because App State put up a lot of numbers last week. So now if you're Texas A&M, you had to play through the weather and a not so great opponent. So this week, it's battle test time, and I think that Jimbo Fisher is going to have his guys ready, specifically on the defensive side. This is going to be a much more uphill battle for App State than it was against North Carolina in that defense, who gave up 24 points to FAMU.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's, like I said, that was more of an indictment on North Carolina's defense and just the team in general. App State, they've had like a really big game last week. It's going to be hard to kind of, I think, get back up and get to that level again. Texas A&M, they're going to have to actually want to win this game too, make some noise, prove that they should be where they're at in the rankings. Also, to get a win against App State, a team that's putting up a lot of points like that, down the road, if App State continues, that'll be a big win in the rankings to help them out, with people arguing about a seeding placement and whatnot. So I think Jimbo Fisher's going to get his boys ready to come out and play. They handle it and they cover.
Chef Ross, what you got cooking?
I got A&M covering. App State scored 70 or 60 some points and still lost the game.
61, yeah, right.
You should never, ever, 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 even in Pop Warner, be able to score 60 points and lose a game. So that just tells me their defense is pretty Swiss cheese, and A&M's got some sort of defense. So the first team to punt loses, and I'm pretty sure that App State punts.
All right, number 25, Houston at Texas Tech. Texas Tech here at the house, 2.5-point favorite. Houston, back-to-back tough battles for them. AG, lead us off on this one.
I was impressed with Houston. I know UTSA is the newcomer to the block. They've started to make some inroads in the college football world, but Houston's tough. Their quarterback showed a lot last week, particularly in overtime, and is what he's capable of. So, give me Houston in this game.
For me, I'm actually going to ride with Houston on this one as well. Sticking within 2.5 points. Sometimes it's tough. I think that they win this game outright, though. Mainly, more than anything, to be honest with you, is my lack of information on Texas Tech. I haven't seen them play a game this year.
Cliff Kingsbury ain't coming back.
And so I don't know much about them. So I'm going to go with Houston here and kind of keep that darling Cincinnati-style vibe going, at least into week 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same way. I mean, Houston kind of has to do that and has to win in order to keep that going. And if they don't, then they're going to be branded as a bunch of phonies, I think. So, yeah, give me Houston.
Bunch of phonies. What you got, Chef Ross?
Give me Houston.
Miles?
I'm going Texas Tech solely based on this is a mascot game for me. I like the Red Raiders a lot more than the Cougars.
So, really?
Yeah.
That's not what you said off air.
Well, that's a different story.
Different Cougar. Gotcha. Different Cougar.
All right, let's get into all SEC battle here. South Carolina at number 16, Arkansas. Arkansas, though, has to cover 8.5 points. I'll lead this one off. Why not? I don't believe in Spencer Rattler, and he's proven it already. Like Steve Barnes said earlier, they won the game off of blocked punts, essentially. So for me, when you throw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and not trying to take anything away from Georgia State by any stretch of the imagination, but you're not, like, Arkansas just had a test against Cincinnati, and they stood up to it, and they won that. I believe that they come out on fire here and yeah, they'll cover 8.5 points, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Arkansas is rolling right now. I think they're going to handle them. You talked about Spencer Rattler just a moment ago. That guy's been living off, I think, just his name. He's got a cool name, Rattler's the last name, and I think he gets a lot of merch. He gets a lot more credit than he deserves just because of the name. And other than that, he's nothing else. So yeah, give me Arkansas winning this game outright.
Same, Arkansas. I like where their program is going.
Old Pittman, man, I love him as a coach.
I got Arkansas as well. Spencer Rattler's not ready for the road SEC games.
All right, good stuff. And what you got?
I'm with you guys. I think it's a sweep across the board. Arkansas showed me what they were capable of against what I thought was a very good Cincinnati team. I think Cincinnati's a quarterback away from being right there in the big picture again this year. But for Arkansas to be able to have the resiliency, especially in the fourth quarter, to put that Cincinnati team away, I thought showed a lot. So give me Arkansas to cover.
We got 4 more games to pick. You don't want to miss it. And also, guys, if you're listening, you can text your picks in. Guys and gals, if you're listening, you can text your picks to 850-215-6290. Or if you're watching on Facebook, send us your picks there, and we'll read them out here live on the air. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to be back after this.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves country.
This is unbelievable. The Atlanta Braves are making a push to the playoffs, and we've got coverage every step of the way. Tonight, the Atlanta Braves continue their West Coast road trip. Definitely going to stay up past our bedtime for this one. Atlanta Braves at Seattle Mariners. Coverage starts at 7:25, first pitch at 8:40, right here on your home for the Atlanta Braves. It's 104.3, 102.1, and 101.9 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Forecast for this afternoon, stalled out weather front over the region. That'll give us more cloud showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and tonight. The high today around 85, the low tonight about 75. On again, off again, rain showers and thunderstorms over the weekend, mostly cloudy in the mid-80s. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
That boot store is having a big sale on select clothing, including shirts, jeans, jean shorts, jackets, ball caps, and coats. You know a sale at that boot store is something special. So don't miss out. That boot store, next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street in Panama City. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto, always keep Jesus in your heart. That boot store.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes along with Adam Goff, Caveman Rick, Miles Lashley, Chef Ross. And we're going to have Miles Lashley. That was it. That was your last pick. No more picks for you. No, I'm just kidding. Let's keep it moving. He's like,
Dave's over here, the pick Nazi. No picks for you.
All right, number 10, USC is on the road at Stanford playing the Trees. Stanford's getting 9.5 points in this game. Miles, instead of going lastly, Mr. Lashley, you can go first.
The Trojans are chopping down all those trees. Roll Trojans.
Don't ever use those two terms together again, man. Roll Trojans. That's disrespectful. What you got on this one, AG?
How about Troll Trojans?
Troll Trojans.
There you go.
I know
There you go.
USC only played Rice last week, but they were pretty impressive in what they did. I mean, 66 points. Stanford hasn't really shown me anything since the Run CMC days, so give me USC in this one to cover.
All right, good stuff there. Sherry Field says, "Go Hogs, beat South Carolina," and Joanne Albano says, "Orange and blue, baby." And we'll be getting to that game here in a few seconds. For me, these games out west, why do we even put them on the docket?
David,
Why
you're
do we do
getting a
this,
free
Mom?
shirt here.
What's that?
According to Facebook, you're getting a free shirt.
Oh, heck yeah! All right, I'll rock it after Alabama plays Arkansas. How about that, Sydney? Appreciate you for listening. Number 10 USC. I'm going USC here. I think that they'll cover the points. The defense did not look very strong in the first half against Rice, but they bounced back, and it wasn't much of a game. Let me go USC here.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much just a warm-up dress rehearsal for them. I think they'll get things right. They'll get coached up by Lincoln Riley, so give me USC covering.
USC has to earn their way into the Big Ten, so they're going to win this game.
I already went, David.
Okay. I forgot that I said Lashley's not going Lashley
He
this
wasn't
time.
supposed to get any picks.
Oh, that's right, too. All right, Mississippi State at Arizona. Arizona at the house here, but an 11-point dog. Now, we do love our underdogs here on the Afternoon Underdogs. AG, you want to lead us off with this one, Mississippi State at Arizona.
This one's tough because, Mississippi State took care of what I thought was a good Memphis team. Arizona went to San Diego State and took care of business, which I think was a shock to everyone's surprise last week. So this game is tougher than that 11 points, but I liked what I saw out of Mississippi State last week. So give me Mississippi State and the 11.
Yeah, I think third-year Mike Leach, man. It's usually always great, man. So give me Mississippi State, too.
Team MVP is sponsoring Pop's Pig Pickin' Barbecue Fest, which means I've got to go Mississippi State.
There you go.
I'm going Arizona.
work a
I'm going
plug-in.
Arizona here. It's not humid enough out there for the boys from the South.
You're picking Arizona
they're
to
gonna
win?
have to cover, not to win. State's gonna win, but this is gonna be another one of those shootout games. It's gonna be real high scoring. I don't know the last time Mississippi State's played a Pac-12 team, so they don't know what they're in for.
For me,
He used to coach in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I'm saying Mississippi
Leach.
State. When's the last time they've played a Pac-12 team?
Well, I'm saying, yeah, but the coach coached there, so he knows how to play against Pac-12.
Arizona impressed me last week, whooping up on San Diego State, right, 38-20.
Came out on fire.
Yeah, and came out of nowhere as well. So Arizona, I do think, is turning things around with that program. But however, I thought Memphis and Mississippi State was going to be a lot closer than what it was. So I've got to go with Mississippi State on this one until they prove otherwise. All right, so on to the next one then. We've got the Baptists versus the Mormons. Number 9, Baylor at BYU. Brigham Young here. They are a 3.5-point favorite. So the number 21 team in the nation, who just got done beating the brakes off of the USF Bulls, is favored against the number 9 team in the nation. Let's start with Miles. Caveman Rick, lead us off here.
All right, BYU's at the house giving up, I should say, 3.5 points. Baylor, I've never liked that school. I never liked the fan base.
Colors are trash.
Simple. So give me BYU to win this game, yeah, man. And
Did you just say you're talking about Baylor? Their colors are trash.
Yeah,
they're green.
I don't.
They're green and yellow.
But the exact colors of them just don't go good together. Like, it just doesn't look good.
Okay.
All right, I don't know where to go from there.
Look at the color
wearing yellow and green. He's like, I got nothing for you.
Chef Ross, what you on with this one?
I like Dave Miranda as a coach a whole lot. He turned the Wisconsin defense up to the next level that it's still at now. He taught LSU how to play some defense, and I think that they're going to win this game.
I got BYU. This is another mascot game for me, and BYU is making my playoff at the end of the year. They're going to be that number 4 team in. They have one of the hardest schedules in the country, and they're going to keep winning these games and covering.
Kirk Herbstreit would love you on College Game Day because he would treat you like Jack Harlow last week.
Here's a question, though. Can BYU actually play in the college football playoff? Don't they have, sabbaticals around that time of year?
Dude, I don't know.
We can do some research on that off air, but I think that's something. I think there's a case in there to be made. But
we'll
anyway,
find out once they make it in.
Yeah, that is so funny.
Give me Baylor in this one. BYU missing their top 2 wide receivers. Obviously Vegas knows something else. What?
Miles is over here kicking
forgot
it. He's
about
like,
that.
he's the one that told me the news. He's like, I forgot about that.
And and it's only a 3.5 point spread. You get 3 just for being at home. So basically, this game is a pick 'em. So give me Baylor in this one.
Yeah, this is definitely a pick 'em game here. I'm going with Baylor as well. Sydney Fields says BYU is going to beat the brakes off of Baylor in Provo.
Word.
Word. All right. Everyone made their picks on that one. All right, we got one more here. The game of the week. You can listen to this game on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, 102.1 and 101.9. 101.9 in St. Joe, 102.1 in Marianna, Kentucky. At number 20, Kentucky. Let's give them their respect. At number 12 in the nation, Florida. Florida here, coming off that big win against Utah, is a 4.5-point favorite. Miles, lead us off on this one.
I'm going Florida. I think Anthony Richardson is something that Florida hasn't had in a long time. A competent quarterback. Or the past 5 years, they haven't had like that guy. They have that guy now. He's going to show up this year. He's going to put on another great performance, and they're going to stomp Kentucky. And I also don't think like Kentucky's as hyped up as they should be. They're way too overhyped this year.
Oh.
Okay. I've got Florida in this one, but I don't think they cover. I think Will Levis struggled last week. The offensive line for UK didn't look as good as it was touted, but I think they figure some things out. It's going to be a battle down there in Gainesville, but I think Florida takes this game because they were super impressive last week against Utah, and Anthony Richardson, he is that guy, and I think he's going to be the difference maker. So I think it's going to be like a last-second field goal kind of deal.
All right, so Chris Rodriguez is going to be suspended for this game. I read a headline where one of their stars is going to be back. It's actually going to be their linebacker, Jordan Wright, after missing the opener against Miami of Ohio. So that was also due to an undisclosed off-the-field issue. Man, I want to take Kentucky so bad right here. I don't think that they're going to win the game, but I just think that everything that happened last week, it's going to be curious to watch, or I'm curious to watch the rest of the seasons for Utah and LSU for the sake of, is Florida getting overhyped here because of beating Utah, who was all the way up at number 7? But, I mean, that game wasn't decisive by any means. And is Utah really that good? In the same way, kind of the opposite end of the spectrum there with Florida State. LSU, they beat darling of the SEC in LSU, and they kind of got no love for that, even though LSU didn't have that great of a season last year. But still, that name there. Yeah, exactly. So I'll be interested to see those two. I don't know if I'm all in. If I'm making the rankings, ain't no way Florida's sniffing anything inside of the top 20 after one win. Now, I know that you beat a top 10 team, but that doesn't make you a top 10 team right off the rip. We just got the season started. These are preseason polls. Doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I'm going to stick my leg out here, or I'll stick my neck out here. I'm going to go with Kentucky, maybe not to win the game, but to stick within 4.5 here.
Word, Dave. I'm going to echo exactly what you just said. That's what I was thinking, man. Florida, they had their big win last week. It's going to be hard to produce something like that again. I think Florida's going to be riding the rankings roller coaster, going up and down all season long. So after they take this loss, maybe they'll be out of the top 25 again. Who knows?
So you are picking Kentucky to win?
I am picking Kentucky with the points. I don't know if they'll win outright. They'll keep it really close, but Kentucky with the points, definitely. They might win, but they'll definitely, with the points, be in there.
Chef Ross, what you got on this game, my friend?
You guys talked me into Kentucky.
Oh.
Y'all are either all going to go 10-0 this week, and I'm going to go 0-10, or the other way around.
We'll see.
So you're going with Kentucky?
I'm going Kentucky.
All right, man. NFL Week 1 is upon us. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be back after these messages.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
I'm also not responsible for the bigotry of the period that you are referring to. Like, I'm sitting there and burning crosses. That is where people like you lose credibility. I've dealt with the issues. Gino, one thing we try to do in the South is when somebody else is talking, we shut the hell up, okay?
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays 6 to 10 on 102.1 and 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Our forecast for this afternoon: stalled out weather front over the region. That'll give us more cloud showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and tonight. The high today around 85, the low tonight about 75. On again, off again, rain showers and thunderstorms over the weekend, mostly cloudy in the mid-80s. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. Decisions. Your technicians just delivered the bad news. Your engine needs major work. Now what do you do? When I come back, it's the automotive version of Let's Make a Deal.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
As Monty would say, do you choose door number 1, 2, or 3 to solve your engine dilemma? Behind door number 1 is repairing your engine. And door number 2 opens to a new car. But behind door number 3 is another alternative. A remanufactured engine can make your car run like new and increase its trade-in value. The cost? $1,200 to $2,500, equivalent to taxes and surcharges alone on some new luxury cars. But just like the TV version of Let's Make a Deal, consider all your options before making your decision. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
When you want a big-time sports show, tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
I'm going to send you up against the best.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
Negative Ghost Rider.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
The need for speed.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
NFL Week 1 got started last night. Bills took care of business on their way on their hunt for the Super Bowl. They're the odds-on favorite right now. But they won 31-10 over the LA Rams. So let's dig a little deeper into some of the other games going around here in NFL Week 1. One of the games that stands out to me, Trey Lance and the 49ers taking on Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. So, AG, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
I think San Francisco's favored by 7, I think, in this game on the road, which is a big number.
Yeah, it's like
7.5. I think San Francisco ends up winning this game just because of their defense and the fact that the Bears' offensive line is absolutely awful. But I'm curious to see if Trey Lance has confidence on the field because of the Jimmy Garoppolo signing and him being there over his shoulder. I'm curious to see what we get out of Justin Fields. Has he learned something, during the offseason and learned how to quarterback at the NFL level? Because I think he has talent. It's just whether or not he's able to put it all together. But it's going to be interesting to see two quarterbacks that are quite similar, and we know that they have the talent, but can we see it to fruition?
Yeah, that's what kind of stands out to me is that with these two quarterbacks, both of them being sophomores for the sake of an argument, even though Trey Lance didn't really play last year, but they are very similar quarterbacks. So it's going to come down to who's the best team around them, but we know the answer to that, and that's the 49ers. So they probably come away with the win here. You're a 7-point favorite on the road, so that says a lot. For me, I'm just interested in seeing what the 49ers look like more than anything. Does Justin Fields take that step up? Sure, that is something to watch. But for how do the 49ers look now with Trey Lance at quarterback?
Yeah, no doubt. Trey Lance, he's got the benefit, though, of having the great running game that Kyle Shanahan likes to run.
Yeah.
So that'll take a lot of pressure off him. Give him time to build up the confidence, like you're saying. Give him a chance to actually play in the NFL, get some time under his belt. That'll help his progression down the road. I'm not so worried about the Jimmy G situation. I mean, obviously, yes, if he does start playing horrible right off the start in the first few games, yeah, they can give him the hook and throw Jimmy G out there. But the way they've been talking, if you do that, you're probably going to hurt that kid's confidence forever. So the best thing would be, like I said, use that running game, progress them slowly, and see what happens. You know that they got plenty of talent on that team on the offensive side of the ball, lean on the defensive side as well to help out the offense, and just kill the clock running the ball and win that way.
Chef Ross?
What is the stat? Like, Trey Lance has played 3 games in the last 30 months with COVID and sitting all last year. And
yeah.
So there's no more rested player in the league than Trey Lance.
Right.
There's no player or no quarterback in the history of the NFL with less tape on him than what we have with Trey Lance. So I really think he's going to be the complete dark horse because nobody can scout him with no tape on him at all.
Yeah, that's great stuff as well. Before we move on to the next question that we've got a caller on the line, Ryan Mulvey, all the way from Bay Point. What's going on, Ryan?
Y'all are dangling the carrot in front of me talking about the Niners-Bears game, so I
did
had
this
to
for
call
you.
in. No, you're such a good guy. And I never get to talk about NFL football on the Coach James Hale show, so it's
Unless
I
they're
just wanted to
playing
chime
in
in.
the league for Alabama, right?
Yeah, exactly. And when he lets me host the show when he's gone, we don't even talk about Alabama, so it works out good.
Chanticleers, let's go.
Turn that Alabama
go
update
Sean.
into an Auburn update real quick.
Yeah, or the Coastal Carolina Grayson McCall I Piss Peel update.
CCU, no?
Yeah, man, gum you and your team. Anyways, give us your take here, and then we'll talk about how you're dismantling, whatever, taking care of business in week 1 already, and we've only played 1 game.
No, we got a long way to go. The rest of my team could flop just because I had Josh Allen and Cooper Kupp on the same team. It worked out good. But anyway, my quick take on the Niners game, because you knew I had to chime in, is Kyle Shanahan's the coach. He's going to have, he's already got his first 12 plays of the game called. He's going to have it dialed up to make Trey Lance feel comfortable, give him the option. He's going to have a lot of checkdowns. Elijah Mitchell, those even without Kittle in the game. And I think the big difference this year is this is Brandon Ayuk's year. This is his coming out party. Him and Trey Lance are on a really good page. So I worry about Justin Fields because he's going to have a lot of angry people coming at him all game long. So I'm hoping they don't get anything crazy going on, but I think Trey Lance is going to settle in nicely for this first game just because Shanahan's going to have a great game plan. A lot of checkdowns, a lot of easy throws, a lot of slants, a lot of mesh routes, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, he has the option to run, which, we saw last night in that Bills game with Josh Allen. I don't know how you're going to stop the Bills. They always have a safety valve that he can throw to, whether it's a tight end or a running back. He's got all those weapons running routes. And then, of course, you got to cover him to run, too. So good luck, AFC, stopping the Bills all year long. It's going to be interesting.
Well, our next question, before we let you go, answer this next question for me. Who do you have in the Super Bowl? Who's your top 2 teams, one from the NFC, one from the AFC?
After watching the Rams look not very great last night, I'm going to say Niners and the Bills.
From the outside looking in, that's not who I have in. But as a fan of the game, I think that would be a really cool Super Bowl.
But there's some
I
good
think
value.
the Niners, barring anything crazy happening and Trey Lance not being a complete flop. However, now we have the best backup in the league with Jimmy G, and he's been there before. So I think the Niners at least make it to the NFC Championship. If nobody crazy gets hurt, they always get a lot of injuries. But I'd love to see Niners, Bills.
I love it. Hey, Ryan, thanks so much for the call, my man.
Yeah, thanks for letting me chat for a couple minutes.
Oh, absolutely, man. No doubt about it. So Trey Lance gets him to the playoffs, and then Jimmy G takes him to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a little Nick Foles all over again. Who do you got for the Super Bowl, Caveman Rick?
Super Bowl. After last night, how can you not go with the Bills? I was already calling that before the season started, so I'll stick with the Bills there. And still, even though the defending Super Bowl champs, the Rams, had, not such a great of a coming out party last night, used the old, Aaron Rodgers line from a few years ago. Just RELAX. Relax. Rams, Bills.
We're going to take a nap here real quick as we relax. No, I'm just kidding. Chef Frost, what you got?
I'm on the Bills bandwagon. They were a pooch kick away from beating Kansas City last year.
Yeah, good point. They would have still had to beat the Bengals, though, in the AFC Championship.
Bengals were good. The Bengals were the hot team. But I'm going to have to go with the 49ers as well. I think Green Bay's in, but I don't think Green Bay's deep enough, and Green Bay's playoff record has broken my heart every year, so I'm just going to cry in September and hold those tears in January.
Cry about it?
Hold on. Who do you have for your Super Bowl?
I got my boy J Boog down in New Orleans, and I got the Bills, and the Saints are taking it home.
Wow, that's a homer pick.
You're saying J Boog's on the line with us?
No, we got G-Man on the line.
Oh, G-Man's on the line. He can wait till we come back from break here. G-Man, just hang on the line. We'll be back from break in just a few minutes. But first, who do you got in the Super Bowl?
I'm going Bengals and AFC until somebody dethrones them. I mean, we've only seen one game in the NFL this year. Granted, Bills look great, but I'm curious to see what the Bengals are going to look like. I think they're going to be even better than they were last year. So, NFC, y'all are going to be laughing at me, but give me the Vikings.
I like that.
See, okay, so let me break down my pick for you guys real quick. I think whoever's representing the AFC, I think they're coming out of the AFC West. My favorite for the AFC West this year, and I think they win the division and move on throughout the playoffs, I'm going with the Chargers. Justin Herbert in year 3. I think Eckler is going to be a pivotal piece to that team this year, and if you can keep Mike Williams and Keenan Allen healthy all year long, I think that they're going to be a special squad that you have to watch out for. In the NFC, this one's tough for me because there's quite a few teams that you can cherry pick from. I'm not a big believer in Trey Lance, but because of Jimmy G being on the bench, yeah, there is that aspect. However, I think the Vikings do win the NFC North this year. I truly do believe that the Vikings are going to win that. And what is that going to do? That is going to put a chip on the shoulder of number 12, who rarely has chips on his shoulder since, everything's kind of been going great for them, and he's had Devontae Adams. Now, no Devontae Adams, everyone's sitting here thinking and saying, well, you're not you don't have Devontae Adams. You don't have any receivers to throw to. So now that chip becomes even bigger. You don't win your division. You're playing from that wild card spot. I'm going Packers-Chargers for the Super Bowl.
So you're saying it's not a chip, it's a potato on his
shoulder. It's going to be a potato
Aaron
on his shoulder.
Rodgers has had a chip on his shoulder since he was sat in the green room on draft day.
That is fair. That is fair, but I think that chip has kind of
it's mutated is what's happened.
Right, but I think that this year is going to be
immunized for that mutation, though, was he?
I think that I think that's way out of left field, though, to be honest, at the Packers, that the reality of that happening, but that's the storyline that I see, like just the Vikings win the division, and everybody's just like laughing at the Packers, and then all of a sudden, all these other years when everybody's like, "Oh, Packers going to the Super Bowl." Last year,
like Tom Brady his first year in Tampa.
Yeah, but there was a big difference there because the Bucs Super Bowl was kind of won in the same shape in the same fashion that the Rams Super Bowl was won. You know what I'm saying? Like they had the core there, then you bring in Tom Brady, but then they started adding all of these pieces with money. And that's not what the Packers are doing because
no.
All right, we got to get to a break. When we get back, we'll have G-Man, and we'll also get to all the high school football games around the area.
You're home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's an NFL triple header for you Sunday. It all starts at 11 with Ravens at Jets, followed by Packers at Vikings. Then it's Sunday Night Football with Tom Brady and the Bucs at the Dallas Cowboys. Coverage starts at 6:30. Then Monday Night Football, Broncos at Seahawks. The NFL on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Tiger TV Pro is a new streaming service that provides you with over 3,000 channels for only $15 a month. You probably spend more than that on lunch these days. Get local channels, entertainment networks, premium movie channels, news and weather channels, and more. Tiger TV Pro even includes all the sports networks, including ACC, SEC, NFL, MLB, and NHL. Sign up's easy. Just go to ESPNPC.com, scroll down, and click the Tiger logo. Dust off your lederhosen. Get ready for historic downtown Panama City's 34th annual Oktoberfest. Kick off the weekend on Friday, September 23rd with Destination Panama City's second annual Oktoberfest craft beer tasting. Guests will enjoy unlimited access to craft beers, ciders, and meads on the beautiful Love PC lawn at 101 West Beach Drive. Plus, there's going to be food trucks and live music by Sons of Saints. This ticketed event will sell out, so get yours before it's too late. On Saturday, September 24th, Oktoberfest starts at 3 p.m. with fun for the whole family. The free event will have live music, seasonal and craft beer tents, and food booths with authentic German cuisine lining the streets alongside local businesses offering shopping, dining, and entertainment. For more information and tickets, visit DestinationPanamaCity.com. Host!
Earthworks of Northwest Florida knows it's a perfect time for you to update your home. Whether it's routine touch-ups or a new look, Earthworks has just what you need. Sand, stone, mulch, and gravel, pickup or delivery. Visit earthworks.com and request a quote. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Love the land you live on. Earthworks of Northwest Florida, 2005 Industrial Drive.
If you can't take the heat,
if the Braves don't do something now, there won't be a playoff.
stay out of the kitchen. Uncompromising sports talk lives here. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back in the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. If you're in Marietta, 102.1 in Port St. Joe, it's 101.9. G-Man, you're on the line, riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Keep it quick here. What do you got for me, my friend? Tell me how the Colts are going to lose to the Texans in Week 1.
Well, they're not going to, as you know, as everybody's aware. But I had to call in. What you said something about A.J. Dillon not catching the ball out of the backfield. He averaged about 3 catches out of the backfield last year. He had 36 total. So he can do that too.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but the guy who's targeted a lot more often when it comes down to it is Aaron
It's Aaron.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, no doubt. But, yeah, go Colts. Colts, Philadelphia. And that's for you, K-Man. Colts and the Eagles in the
Right
Super
on.
Bowl.
I appreciate it, but I'm not picking them because I don't want to jinx them. And just about your Colts winning this weekend, I don't know if you've remembered the last few years, but your team doesn't do so good come Week 1 and the last week of the year. They seem to, lay one.
It's a different year, though. It's Matt Ryan's time.
It's a different AARP
This
quarterback.
is a whole. We have a real quarterback now. We don't have
4
that
straight years, 4
funky that we got from Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, how are you gonna feel if Carson Wentz takes down Jacksonville in Week 1 with the Commanders? Like, where was that Week 18 last year?
I love it. They're in our division.
Yeah,
I want Jacksonville to lose.
That
Right
is
on.
true.
Good way to look at it.
Hey, but still, you got to watch out for Davis Mills and Damian Pierce.
We'll see. I think people are going to see a Colts team that has a mission this year. We got a defense that's outrageous. Got a good offensive line. Got a quarterback that can actually manage the ball, manage the team. I'm telling you, man.
Just
watch
don't
out.
get a lead of 28-3 and you'll be all right, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Word.
Hey, G-Man.
All right.
Go ahead, bud.
No, I just said I'll see you later.
All
Let's
right, my
go.
man.
I just
See you, G-Man.
watch some football this week. Bye.
Thanks for calling in, bro.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much for the call. All right, real quick here. Some games going around the area tonight. Number 13, Liberty County taking on Freeport in Freeport. That game starts at 7 p.m. Fort Walton Beach is 0-2. They're taking on number 1 in the area, Niceville, who's 2-0. That game also at 7 p.m. Bozeman and Baker go at 7 p.m. Rutherford visiting Walton. That's at 7 p.m. Cottondale and Rocky Bayou Christian at 7 p.m. All of these games are starting at 7 p.m. So Holmes County is taking on Shipley in Shipley. Sneeds is visiting Graceville. And Weewa is visiting Vernon. Last night you had Mosley taking on Arnold. Mosley got the better of them in 3 quarters, 42-7. And Destin opened up their football livelihood with a win over North Bay Haven. Close, though, 28-21. In other news, Val Solorio, who we've had on the show before. She wrestles with Mosley and Gulf Coast Grappling Academy, and she did end up losing today, but, still, she's in the, I forget what it's called, the Who's the Who's Who. That's what it's called. Or Who's Number One Wrestling Championship up in Ann Arbor, Michigan for the title of number one wrestler in the U.S. She took on Gabriela Gomez today, who was the number one seed. Val was number two, and that was their third match against each other in the past 2 years in the 100-pound weight class. The first match, Solorio defeated Gomez in the finals of the Fargo National Championships. That was in 2021, but Gomez got her back in the U.S. World Team Trials this summer. So Gomez won today, and we'll get more from that next week when we get to talk with Coach Siegel. Worst game on the schedule for Week 1, the NFL. What you got? I'll start it. One is going to be I've got three options, but I'm going to go with number one overall is going to be the Giants at the Titans. My favorite team is the Tennessee Titans. I think that's one of the worst games on the schedule. It would be maybe a little bit more interesting if it was in New York. The other one is the one that we just got done talking about with G-Man. Colts and the Texans just doesn't do a lot for me at this point of the season.
I think one of the worst games is going to be Broncos-Seahawks. Seahawks not a great team. I don't got faith in Russ.
Storyline.
I don't care about the storyline.
Yeah, can we not flex another Monday night game?
Is it a game that you want to watch or not watch? I really don't. Not too interested in it.
Yeah.
So that's just my pick.
Chef Ross, Packers, Vikings.
Commanders.
Yeah, that's going to be an awful game to watch. Terrible color matchup, too.
God, man.
What is with you today?
This is not a fashion show.
Right. You should be hanging out with Cam Newton.
Look, the Jags and Commanders uniforms on the same field, that's just ugly.
Okay.
All right.
For me, it's Colts-Texans. I actually like the Giants-Titans matchup just because of Brian Daboll going in there with revamped Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. Can he,
Stay
kickstart
healthy?
his career again?
Yeah.
And then the Titans, what do they look like without A.J. Brown?
Yeah.
And is Derrick Henry going to be that guy he was before he got hurt? So that game actually does intrigue me.
Yeah.
From a storyline perspective, as far as offensive output, I don't know that it's going to be there, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. Like, as a Titans fan, of course, I'm extremely interested in this game because there's so many questions that's got to be answered outside of, I mean, you're not going to get the answer for the biggest question on the year. Will Derrick Henry stay healthy this year?
Right.
That question is not going to be answered in week one unless he gets hurt. But yeah, Treylon Burks is someone I'm extremely interested in. How does Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, how does he work out there in Tennessee? The lack of A.J. Brown, Austin Hooper, how does he get utilized in that offense? The rookie tight end, don't know how to say his name yet, so I'm going to leave that one alone. And then the defense. You lost Harold Landry, who was our top pass rusher last year. Jeffrey Simmons has got to step up big time out of Mississippi State. Bud Dupree, who's more of a complimentary type guy on the defense.
Keep Bud Dupree out of Walgreens. And you're good.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's pick these games. Let's pick them quickly here. Browns Panthers. The spread is even, and we're not picking with or against the spread. It's just there for your use. What do you got, K-Man Rick?
Give me the Browns. They got the better team overall on paper or the rosters. You got Baker starting again for a different team. A lot of uncertainties. Christian McCaffrey, is he going to get broke the first time somebody touches him? So give me the Browns.
I think McCaffrey makes it till week 3 at least before he gets injured, but give me Panthers.
I'm going with the Browns. I want to see Baker Mayfield lose and just fall apart.
Give me the Panthers in this one. I think Baker's going to be mad.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to show it.
I don't think he was the problem with the Browns last year.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he was showed the door. He was shown the door and said, we're going to go with a guy that we know is probably not going to play at all this year, so bye.
He was the problem, and it was the Browns' fault that it was his problem because the torn labrum and trying to play through that, they should have never let that happen. But if they envisioned this process rolling out the way that it did, then it didn't really matter to them in the first place.
Right.
So there's that. I'm going with the Panthers in this game because of what you said. He's going to be mad. I don't think that it's mad. I think it's emotion in general. That I think he will be mad. I'm saying when he plays with certain emotions, typically towards that anger side, he plays better, but he also wears his emotion on his sleeves, and so too much emotion, I think it builds up over time and knocks him down. Packers at Vikings, you can listen to this game at 3:25. Coverage starting at 3 o'clock right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This one's tough, so I'm going to pick last here. Let's start off with a cheesehead. Chef Ross, what you got?
Go, Pack, go.
I'm going Vikings. This is going to be the start of their miraculous year. Now, I don't know how they'll be in the playoffs, but I think they're going to have a really good regular season.
And how do you feel about their uniforms, Miles?
I love the purple. This is going to be a great color matchup, those two uniforms. It always is.
No, that purple is
a loser, man.
My thing is just
it's all about the eye test.
Yeah, hey, true.
I picked him as my Super Bowl contender, so give me Minnesota.
All right.
For me, Minnesota last year, we saw, like I mentioned, about how the Green Bay Packers started out with Aaron Rodgers. They got blown out. So, yeah, same thing probably happens. Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, I got you. All right, final game also on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. It's also the Sunday night football game. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers heads to the Cowboys, who's taking on heads to Dallas. Well, they'll be taking on Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott's going to be playing through a little bit of some ankle soreness,
From bad cleats.
Bad cleats, yeah. So that's why you got to wear them longer to break them in. Who do we got in this game? I'm going Tom Brady and the Bucs until I'm proven otherwise. I know your answer's simple.
Yeah, pretty easy. Give me the Bucs.
Give me the Bucs, even though Brady's living the bachelor life now.
I don't want to pick either one of those two teams.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bucs. Dak's so overrated.
Same reason I went with Baker. I'm going to go with Tom.
I love it. We are out for the day, out for the weekend. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back Monday at 4 p.m. Coach James Hale Show will be live Monday at 7 a.m. Y'all have a great weekend.
Who day?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves country.
This is unbelievable. The Atlanta Braves are making a push to the playoffs, and we've got coverage every step of the way. Tonight.